Welcome to my first net worth video of 2026. It's great to have you here. If you're new around here, back in May of 2024, I set two big financial goals for myself, and since then I've been tracking my net worth as part of that. And I personally think that seeing that progress from a real person in real time is really helpful. So for context, I am a 26-year-old living in Denver, Colorado. I make $80,000 a year and I share expenses with my boyfriend. On that note, my two big financial goals that I set for myself were first to pay off my $127,000 student loan balance, and second was to have $100,000 personally invested by the time I turned 30. Naturally, life has thrown some twists and turns, and I actually have an update in this video that I think will be interesting to talk about. So if you've been following, you probably know what that is, but my net worth has gone significantly down in this video. With that, we're gonna go through every single one of my accounts and see where my net worth is today. Because my student loans are what started this whole thing in the first place and started me learning about money and wanting to get really good with my money, we're gonna start with my student loans and we'll walk through them. So as I said, I started with $127,000 of debt. Today I have $73,037.36, which is really encouraging. That balance has gone down a lot since May of 2024. If we go through loan by loan, we can see the progress there. What I've been doing is tackling the largest interest rate first. So I started with 5 loans, I'm down to 4, and we're close to paying off one of them. So I'll be down to 3 soon, which is really exciting. And I make the minimum payment to all of my student loans and then aggressively pay extra money towards the one that I'm focused on. The minimum payment is set to pay off my loans in 10 years. I plan to do it a lot faster than that. So yeah, loan by loan. My student loan one has a balance of $18,388. This one started around $22,000, so that minimum payment has paid it down like $4,000, which is helpful when I go to tackle it, but not ultimately very significant. My student loan two has a balance of $19,096. Same thing, it's just been getting the minimum payment. It also started around $22,000. My student loan three has a balance of $25,965. This one started around $33,000, and I spent a little bit of time focused on this one because it was just so much larger than the rest of the loans that I had left that it was just costing me more per month. But when I brought it down, it now cost me about the same as the other ones per month. But it is the next loan that I will focus on if I go with the highest interest rate loan next. My student loan 4 started with a balance of around $33,000 and has a balance of 0. So this is the one I paid off. It was my only loan that was over 7% interest. The rest are between 5 and 6%, which I personally think is just too high for student loans, and they should be between 3 and 4%, but I don't write the interest rates. And then finally is the loan that I'm currently focused on, which started with a balance of around $22,000 and currently has a balance of $9,586. So yeah, that's where a majority of my money goes right now. That's my biggest focus. This debt is my biggest expense every single month, and so being debt-free will just open up so many doors, whether that's investing extremely aggressively or just reducing my income, which brings me to early retirement or like partial early retirement sooner because I have lower monthly expenses. Either of those options is good. My goal overall is to reduce my monthly expenses so that I can afford to not work, because I want to spend my time raising a family, maybe hiking, skiing, all the things. Not necessarily at work, but I do love my job, so I still want it to be part of my life. So like full retirement isn't exactly my goal. I would love the financial freedom to not have to worry about a job, but I'm not opposed to working because I do feel like I give back a lot and I take care of other people and I love my job. Let's talk about the next piece of debt I had. And if you have been watching my videos for a while, you're probably like, Sandra, the next piece of debt? Well, yes, you guys, I bought a car. I bought a 2025 RAV4 hybrid, and my plan is to drive it until it explodes, which hopefully will be about 200,000 or more miles from now. I think I can get more out of it. Borrowing money for a car was not in my plan. I started saving money for a car because I drove a 2010 Subaru Outback with 180,000 miles on it. I was expecting to get more, but that just wasn't in the cards for me. My Subaru met its maker before I expected, and I needed a reliable vehicle. I wasn't looking for a high mileage car. So when comparing the RAV4 specifically at low mileage used and just like a couple years old to brand new, the price difference just wasn't there because these cars have been holding their value extremely well. So after weighing the fact that I was going to be driving the car forever and wanted to know its full maintenance and driving history with saving a couple $1,000s, I opted to just do a new car. Fortunately, my payment is less than what we were saving for a car every single month, so this fit really nicely in our budget, and we're still technically saving for a car. Jake also drives a very old vehicle. When we weighed like paying my car off somewhat early but not out significantly early versus just having a cash fund for when his car hypothetically goes, but it won't because it's going to drive forever. We decided to just save the money, and then if we get to a place, we can just make a lump sum payment to my loan. It's a relatively cheap loan. I'm fine with it. And also because I plan to drive this car until it's dead, I don't consider the vehicle's value itself as an asset. I just consider the loan as debt because it's like I borrowed money for a tool, not like I borrowed money for an asset. I won't be adding the car's value back into my net worth. My car loan is $39,518. So that is a new piece of debt that I wasn't necessarily planning on taking out that drags my net worth down. I took a 6-year loan just wanting that payment to be super low because the interest rate is lower than the interest rate on my student loans, which is ridiculous. Objectively, my student loans are an appreciating asset and my car is a depreciating asset. So there's an argument for paying off the car earlier, but I'm sticking with the student loans. So having a 6-year loan just kept my payment lower, but I plan to pay it off in 3 years or less if everything goes to plan, which it will. And this works for me because I live in a state without prepayment penalties, so there's no fees or anything associated to paying it off early. So yeah, everyone has their opinion about car loans. Ultimately, it ended up being a good choice for me because of how I use a car and the reliability that we needed in a car. I had planned to have the cash for it, but it just happened sooner than expected, and life just throws you lemons and you just have to run the numbers and decide what's worth it to you. Do I feel sick to my stomach having another $40,000 of debt? Absolutely. But do I know I can manage it? Also, absolutely yes. So we're just adding an extra $40,000 to pay off before I turn 30 in 2029. Okay, that is my sad, boring debt. Let's go ahead and talk about investments. So I am investing while I pay off debt. I do what I call bare minimum investing, which is I invest up to my employer 401k match and max out my Roth IRA every year. This is the bare minimum that I felt I needed to invest before I could do anything to inflate my lifestyle, including make aggressive debt payments. So when I looked at my budget, I made sure that my discretionary income could go towards investments before I put extra money to my debt, and putting money towards both of those things aligns towards my goals, but I do make sure to set aside some money every single month to have fun with. So starting with my 401k, this I just invest up to my employer match, which I invest 6%, they match me at 3%. I started this in September of 2024 because I wasn't eligible for it until September of 2024. Actually, I was eligible for it before, but they made it sneaky and hid that I was eligible for it before then. That's okay. It was only like 3 months of investing. I currently have $8,454.53 in that account. My Roth IRA currently has $9,415.85. So I'm just around $17,000 total invested. And this is after just under a year and a half of investing, with really just a full year under my belt because I didn't start putting real money to my investments until January 1st of 2025. So that feels pretty good. I'm excited to see this number grow this year. Hopefully it grows. Who knows? I don't control the stock market. And then next on the docket, we have my savings account, starting with my sinking funds. This is money that I save knowing it's going to be spent. So whether or not it should be included in a net worth is whatever. You know, I'm also just kind of breaking down my accounts for you. So that's what we're going to do today. So I currently have $673.16 in my sinking funds. I just spent from my car maintenance fund and my gift fund for Christmas. So we just spent down a lot of my sinking funds. Currently have $6.98 that I've earned in interest that I just haven't moved. I take all of my interest and just put it into a concert fund because that's fun. So my concert fund currently has $61.64 in it. That's big enough for like a small venue ticket. I save for credit card fees. I currently have $150 saved for credit card fees. I actually just canceled a bunch of credit cards so that I could restart my ridiculous cycle of credit cards. So I'm down to just the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, which is $95 a year, and that it comes due for me in like March. So we're good on that. I'm gonna keep saving just a small amount in case I open up a card or who knows what. That'll just help grow that bucket. Travel currently has $200.54 in it. I won't be spending from this until we take a trip in May. So that'll just grow over the next couple months. This is a really important area for me to fund, and I supplement my cost of travel with credit card points. And then I have $183 saved for my ski pass. We oversaved last year, so we can undersave a little bit this year. For car maintenance, I have $50. Like I said, I just spent all of that money. I basically pulled that money to pay for the taxes and registration on my new car. And then gifts, I have $21 saved. Again, I just bought Christmas gifts, so we drained that to zero. So those are my sinking funds. I keep those all organized in Ally. Ally has a high yield savings account, and then it also has a feature that allows you to like set buckets. So I have one savings account and then all of these buckets are in there. I also track this in my budget spreadsheet, and it's nice because I can just reconcile the accounts and make sure that everything is good. Next, I have an HSA. Jake and I are young with relatively low health expenses, so we opted for a high deductible insurance plan in order to save in an HSA. My work contributes money to this account, and then I save a little bit each month, but it's not a priority and I'm not maxing it out. I can't afford to. So currently I have $2,117.04 in cash and $504.70 invested. I recently hit the $2,000 threshold where I could start investing some of the money, and basically from here on out, anything that's over that $2,000 threshold is going straight to investments. My goal will be to have this money grow, and then it'll help cover healthcare costs when I have more of them. Knocking on wood that is a very long time from now. And my last savings account is my emergency fund. I am not comfortable with having a small emergency fund while I'm paying off debt. I think being able to cover a realistic emergency with cash is a good thing. That way I don't have to go into more expensive debt in order to cover an emergency. For me, I decided that number was about 3 months of living expenses, which is right about $10,000. I also have a thing for a round number, and I realize that's ridiculous, but 10,000 is an easy number. I want this to be higher. I'd like it to be closer to 6 months or even a year of living expenses down the road, but I have to not carry too much cash while I'm paying off my debt and trying to invest, because that money is so much more helpful in investments down the road. My emergency fund has $10,000 in it. I keep this in a separate bank account. I actually keep it with Discover. I really like Discover for high yield savings. I don't think they have the highest interest rate, but it's like by 0.25%. It's still high yield. It's still earning like 3.6 or something. Their customer service is wonderful, or I've had nothing but good experiences, and I just happened to open this account way back when, and that is where my emergency fund lives. I like having it in a separate account from my sinking funds because I'm not seeing it every day. It's just quietly growing, and I usually leave the interest in there, but this is another place that I pulled to pay for my taxes and registration for my car. So we're back down to the even 10,000, and I will continue to let the interest just sit in that account and grow. You can watch that grow with me over time. And then finally, I have $443.93 in cash in my bank account. So time to talk about my total net worth. And this has gone significantly down again because we're adding the car loan into the picture this month. My total net worth is negative $80,946. I'm happy to see that I didn't go back over negative $100,000, but it is a bummer because I was at like negative $40,000, which was looking realistic to be into a positive net worth by the end of the year. And now it's still possible. So we're just gonna keep checking away and paying off all these loans. I'm hoping to pay off my student loan 5 entirely this year, and student loan 3 is going to be sub $10,000 when I start the next year. We're going to be in the same kind of position, but just with one less loan. My real goal, as you know, if you've been following, is to have all of this debt paid off with money that I make from social media. My income here has been growing, which will help my net worth grow. So let's just kind of see what happens. But realistically, I am working with my W-2 job, which I make $80,000. That's another thing I want to focus on increasing this year, because I think I'm really settled in and have good experience in my role, and we can start to grow my income a little bit, maybe sacrifice a little bit of work-life balance because I'm in my 20s, so let's grind, right? As I have you guys, so what work-life balance do I really have? Anyways, this was lovely. I really enjoyed having you here in class. If you're interested in following along on my financial journey while I pay off a ridiculous amount of debt and grow my net worth, go ahead and follow along. And in the meantime, I'll make another one of these videos next month, but there'll be another video next week.